Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast. Are you ready to greet Ed, Rich, Crow, and Pete as they talk Evercade? Good times will never fade. Put away the switchblade, sheath the sword of Vienna. Stop the blaster master, there's no enemy below as we dip into euphoria. Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast.
Hey, good morning, everybody, for a special episode of Evercast.
What makes this so special? What makes this so special?
I
was just thinking, in the theme song, it says, "Are you ready to greet Ed, Rich, Crow, and Pete?" For the people that aren't here, you should bleep out their names.
I know, right? I wish I had more control to kind of do that. Yeah, Rich is setting up his son's birthday, and Pete's on holiday, so you're stuck with us this morning. So hello, everybody.
We're not stuck. It's not where we're holding him prisoner.
All right. So yeah, we have some things to talk about today.
He says there's things to talk about I wouldn't know, so we'll find out.
That's what he said before the show too.
I know. And that's why I'm telling everybody else now.
What are you eating for breakfast?
Chocolate cake.
Ooh. Did you bring enough for everybody? Remember that in school?
Yeah.
I'll take a piece. All right. So let's see. Who do we have? We have Lloyd JRM. Have fun on your holiday, Pete. That's awesome. I did say that? I know I said maybe like for my videos. I could have said that. It's always good. Post a copy. Well, yeah, I may have said that since there wasn't like any like official news.
Oh, is there unofficial news?
Official news and unofficial news of the mind. We have Crypto Coffee. We have Matthew Madison. Who else? We have the Intellivision Gamer. Hey, we have Genejoke. How was your flight, buddy? You had this get on a plane yesterday somewhere. Oh God. I knew somebody would tease that. Hey, Morley. We get some iHeart Retro. All right. Okay, so you know what? Why don't we dive into polls? Polls. See if it'll let me. Yes, it should let me share. Polls. And I asked this kind of for a reason, and it may kind of lead on to next, but I know. So the reason I said, what's the one thing you don't want to see this year? And I put indie games number top. I know, like Gene reports from the social medias and all that, and I guess there seems to be some stipulation that people don't want more indie games. So I was curious to see, would people not want more indie games more than computer collections? Notice I just didn't say blue cards. I put computer collections in general or red cards. Obviously, I knew like more hardware was going to be the highest, but surprisingly,
yeah, it's kind of bad though, because like you're limited to only having 4 options too. You can't put more than 4. So
I hate that. YouTube used to let you do 5, and then they removed 1.
Really,
yeah.
The other thing you could have done like a. I tried doing this. It doesn't really work out that well, but you could do like at least the forms. Like you could do a poll through Google Forms or something, and link to that. But then you're taking people out of YouTube, and
exactly.
But then you have like the freedom to put whatever you want.
True. You think they would integrate that since Google owns YouTube? Yeah. Yeah. See, then I may narrow this down. I always like to do 154 votes, double check, because it seems like the consensus is people don't want any more hardware. Blue cards for a second. An angry rant-filled Ed. A truly terrifying thing to behold. A blue card is like a red rag to a bold. No hard. Yeah, pretty much the consensus is no hardware. But I was Now I may narrow this. I was curious. This is actually lower than I thought. And interesting that people don't want computer collection. They you know they don't want computer.
Wait. I just realized you said you computer collections. Notice I didn't say blue carts. Isn't that the same thing as saying blue carts? Computer collections.
It is, but unless you know how like Blaze changes the rules, and they could like supposedly the blue collection was supposed to have computer.
Oh, they still kind of, for the most part, they still okay. If you want to hear what I don't want to see, I don't want to see cross pollination between those collections. Oh, here's a red cart, but we've thrown one computer game in there, or here's a computer cart, but we've thrown one console game in there. That kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Especially since I stopped grouping. Like I put them on the shelves. I don't order them by number. I don't order them. I don't even separate them by color. I just put them on the shelf alphabetically, which is why that Karnoff Windjammers and Friends kind of, it irritates me a little bit. I think I'm gonna re-put a new label on the spine and call it Data East Arcade 1.5 or something.
That would be great. If you do that, you have to post that image to your channel. Do a poll. Say, do you like my image better than I don't know? see if people print it out and use it. That would be funny. 100%. But yeah, just in case they change things up. I mean, and that even includes it could be anything to DOS to Atari. I don't know if we'll see that. But yeah, I thought this would be kind of fun. People still do like the red cards because that's very small. But now that I have an idea, I might use this to build the next.
Did you just not put blue cart or not blue carts, but purple carts because you assumed that that would just be the lowest? People would want to see more purple carts.
Yeah, correct, 100%. If we had a fifth choice,
since you're limited, I can't. But then our indie games, I don't know. That's kind of like. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to imagine somebody not wanting indie games unless they just want specifically one type of collection. Like if you only want arcade games, then you don't want indie games, that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, it's just kind of like the debate me and Gene have back and forth of like, I say people want more indie games than blue cards. And it's like, no, people want more blue cards. Stuff like, fun stuff like that. Or, when someone says, it was said that nobody likes this, or people don't want this. I'm like, who are these people? Where's the data? Why are they, where are they?
You can't say that this is the worst cart and have it be like, have everybody universally agree with you because it's somebody's favorite cart. I mean, you do know what my favorite Evercade cart is, right? What I feel the best cart is? It is Worms. Just for that one game, because it's the one game in the entire Evercade collection that I could play over and over and over again.
Well, there you go. That's a good reason. So iHeart, are we assuming there'll be future carts? So actually, I did want to check in. So let's take a look at Songbird.
Oh,
yeah.
Before we switch over to this really quick.
Yeah.
I did have my last poll I'm putting up for a while. And now we know what the best Evercade cart is by polls. You want to take a guess what it is?
Toplin Collection 3.
You are right.
Only because I saw it was between that and Irem, wasn't it? I think.
Yes, because Irem I was doing the ones that won for each year. Now that doesn't include any cart that came out this year, because I might do those next year after all the collections have been out, and we can figure out what the best cart for 2025 is.
Yeah, in a way, I wasn't surprised because I feel like that's has great games, a lot of shooters, but like Irem definitely.
I couldn't say I haven't played it yet.
I think though that it blazed in Irem too. So yeah, I like to check into Songbird. Like my order's still on hold. Don't know if that's good or bad. But,
and you ordered from Songbird?
Yes. And then if you look here, you still can't pre-order.
Hmm.
You know,
I wonder what's going
not
on
taking
at
any of
Video
the new
Games
orders.
Plus.
That's yep. So Video Games Plus is a little bit. It's kind of sad because look at this.
Yeah,
Every
everything
single
is
thing
out of
they've
stock.
officially. Yep, exactly. They've gotten rid of it all.
Well,
And
I
there's
don't
only
think they've canceled my order.
Well, that's good.
Well, let me check. I'm checking.
Yeah, even the Super Pocket cases. So everything is officially sold out from there. Now,
Yeah, my order still exists, and it's funny that like in my order everything says sold out, but I wonder if that's just because they would do that for anything that's sold out.
exactly. Yeah, it's hard to say. Not for good, not forgotten. Each round of worms at least 40 minutes with a good pace. Okay.
Well, you play a game how that's the thing is like it's so customized. There's so much customization you can do, and I actually like playing against the computer players. But there's a ton of single player stuff in there as well, where missions and whatnot. And I Heart Retro says I guess Worms Blast is okay, but I don't like Worms. I don't like Worms Blast.
So here's what's interesting. We go back. So if I did a search of the Super Pockets, notice this is Amazon.uk. Yes, it says that different location. But check this out. If I change this to .com, I was like, would this actually work? Oh my god. Yeah, that's the I am a human. I so hate that. It does work, but it's currently unavailable, and they don't know when it's going to be back in stock or anything else.
Now I'm not aware, but can you actually order from Funstock those collections and get them like from the US? I think I never even tried it, but
no, you can't. No, you can't. God dang it! This is what I hate about having separate concog. Anyways, I'll bring it back up here in a second. Can I pre-order VGP? Still have a pre-order. Just worried that might cancel. Yeah, I know. Crow's in the same bucket too.
Yeah, don't worry, it gets canceled. It gets canceled. Don't have to give me my money back.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Then I wanted to go to. Sorry about that. One of these days, I'll really learn to StreamYard. Okay, so and then Pixel Crib for those who get shipped to Australia, right? They're like, yeah, I don't want to pay $80 for one Evercade cart. Can you get with the conversion and everything? That would be ridiculous. And did it share? Yes, it shared. Okay.
I wonder that's $80 Australian. So what does that convert to US dollars?
Let's see. I would need to look. What does that convert to? Helps if I type in the right thing.
It'll be $51.34. $51.34 United States dollars.
Wow. So that would okay.
It's still a lot, but it's not $80 a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure eBay will be an option to get scalped. Yeah. So let's see what else do people have to say.
No, my biggest issue now is if these collections become available on Funstock and nobody else is carrying them, it's like, how do I get the version without the Peggy logo on it now?
That's what you're concerned about. That's what I'm concerned with. And this was 3 days ago. Then they said they haven't heard anything back from Pixel Crib. No, you did bring up a good point, man. What I'm concerned about is, let's say all our orders are on hold, and then they cancel and they refund us, and then our only option is to get it from Funstock. But then now everybody's ordering from Funstock, right? And then we miss out.
Wait, how would we miss out if everybody's ordering from Funstock?
Well, if they have limited quantities, or do you think they'll have enough for everybody who pre-orders?
I think they would still have I think they would still make the same number, It's just that instead of shipping those out to the other places to sell, they would just have the entire stock. So I don't think there'd be less carts. It would just that they would have more in stock.
Gotcha. All right. Like I said, I will. Man, I'm just not able to use StreamYard today. Where the heck was I? Okay. We can't. What do you mean you can't get stuff from Funstock anymore? So speaking of things, there we go. All right. So this is another kind of interesting thing. Somebody posted to ID the Hero. They said they finally found the EXP Hero Limited Edition, and so where my mind kind of went, I'm like, is this one of the stolen ones? And they posted everything, and I think somebody said that it was they sold, and they're just like, yeah, I need a hero. And of course, somebody asked, like, to ignorant folks like me, what is the benefit of this over mini hint? Really, I like how they put that. It's like, stop it, Gimpy Imps. And then people are saying, yeah, it's cool having official licensed stuff, and you don't have anxiety picking games and all that. Which is kind of interesting. Where did somebody say? Yeah, someone says, yeah, I hate to tell you, but it's from the stolen batch here and here. How to identify. Really? What were the changes that were made? Stupid cookies. What were the changes that were made? What were changed? I kind of remember this, but I don't think they said that they put the changes. People be assured. Post highlights and things to look out for. European orders. Oh, that's right, they did. Oh yeah, that's right. That original box art didn't have Capcom on it.
Oh, well, there's also that stamp in the corner.
Yeah. So if we go back, see if I can do this right, actually, for once. Yeah, let me scroll. I was like, what the hell? They scroll back up, and they put their pictures. Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yep. Well, wait a minute. No. Oh, never mind. I was thinking is because they had the Peggy logo, but that's not because of that. That's yeah. Because that was only available from front stock. So regardless of where it went, it had the Peggy logo on it.
Yep. Poor Peggy. Yeah, and that's okay, and that's what they were saying that no
Go back to the other picture. Was the Peggy logo in those screenshots of the no. Why didn't they put it there?
I know, right? Or maybe that's before.
So maybe it's not from the stolen batch. Maybe that is actually one of the UK ones.
Could be. What did they?
Because the stolen batch was the ones that were going to the US. I assumed that the UK one still had the original box. I wish I don't have mine because I sold it as soon as I got it because I didn't need it when I got it. By the time I got it. But yeah, I wonder if our box that we would have gotten would have had that Peggy logo on it, or if it's like it's exactly pictured here. Let's see. This is the Evercade EXP Black.
What?
No,
Is that
no,
true?
it's got the Peggy logo. Yeah, actually, it's temporary. I just was checking that out. Actually, effective April 28th. There's a pause in service for all U.S. customers.
Oh, okay. Pause. Yeah, that makes.
It says pause. So yeah, but they don't have a date or anything saying, this is when we're going to start shipping to U.S. again.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Tab over. No, it did not. Yeah, I see. If it'll let me. Doesn't like me going to all these tabs, damn it. Yeah, where it says U.S. customers, important information, please read. And see if I ship it. Switch it over here. Yep. Update on tariffs and import duties, blah, blah, blah. Existing pre-orders. Oh, made before April 28th. Hey, the day before my birthday. Yeah, okay, so they're taking a cautious approach. As soon as the situation is clear, they'll release. Okay, so right now. Ooh. Yeah, so there's no place for us to order from.
Yeah, so no matter how you look at it, if you're in the U.S., there's no way you can order any Evercade stuff. Unless you're buying it off of eBay or something. Like, all you could really do is, I guess, buy from a UK seller that's going to ship it to the US and under the radar or something.
Yeah, man, Canada too. Free ship. Oh. Not available. Yeah, you got to order more than 30 pounds. Maybe exactly 30 pounds. Catching up the comments. It's birthday holiday, right? Yeah. So no, that's definitely interesting. So yeah, I guess at this point it's just kind of like just have to wait and see. So whether you got in your order from your order earlier from Fun Stock, it looks like they'll honor it, and then hopefully Songbird and Video Games Plus, for our orders that are kind of on this like weird hold status. We'll just have to.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
To kind of,
I don't know why they just wouldn't, because we already know what the tariffs is. I don't know why they just wouldn't increase the price and sell it anyway.
Right? Isn't it only
unless right? Yeah, it's like 10% as far as I know. So if it was just 10% more, I could see still ordering them from there, I guess. But again, the Peggy logo is another thing. I think I'd probably wait. Yeah.
That would be hilarious if your wife's name was Peggy. She needs to legally change her name. I don't want Peggy. What year? Oh my god. But yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I kind of. Well, see, here's maybe what I'm thinking. Do you think maybe they don't have all the carts, like like they don't exist yet? Like they haven't like printed up all the carts in the factories, and they're afraid that if they started out 10%, that the price could jump more, and then they could be out money. Or
yeah, I mean, I guess it's the only thing that that it could be is like, though, maybe they're afraid the tariffs would increase. But again, it's like, it could go down too. I don't know. Nobody knows, and that could have been the case anytime, really. So
see what I don't.
Even if there was no tariff on the UK, but everywhere else, would they have still canceled just to wait to see if there was going to be a tariff in the UK? Yeah. Or would they have just reacted when it actually happened?
True. No, those are all really good questions. But yeah, no, actually, what they could do is they could say, hey, here's the price right now with the current thing of the tariffs. If you order like within the next week, you're guaranteed to be locked in at this price.
Yeah, but again, I don't know if they'd want to do that, because if they do the tariffs go up and you're locked in at a lower price, they might be losing some money then on that sale.
And that's what I wonder. Maybe they're not ready to ship. Hey, Blunners, welcome. I wonder maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, when do those collections come out? When do those next collections? It's like the Karnoff Windjammers, the Neo Geo Pocket. So when is that supposed to come out? I know they delayed it a month. But when is that supposed to be released now? What if this whole thing doesn't get resolved and are they just going to push it back again? Or are they, Go
to the unofficial. Where's the unofficial timeline? You go to cartridges. Okay.
I mean, at some point, they're going to have to release the carts, at least for everybody except the U.S., if they're just not going to ship to the U.S. because of tariffs.
Here we go. And I call this the unofficial, the unofficial timeline. That's what we have now. Yeah. So June is it? I guess is it the end of June? I would assume. Right?
It's always the end of the month. Whenever they talk about, it's going to be this month or this quarter, it's always the last day.
Right, right.
Yeah, and then they say it's this day, like this day specifically, and then people will start getting them a week or two ahead of time. So
Yeah. It doesn't even say in the article. Yeah, so we have until the end of next month. So what's today? Maybe like what, a month and a half roughly, more or less, to see. And then this has been pushed back to August. But yeah, no, I've been wondering that question too. Are they just going to be like, so are US? And that's kind of the. But see, here's the one reason I don't think they'll do that, because then that'll create a market of scalpers, and then maybe they'll lose some. I think they'd rather have.
Well, that's an interesting thing. If you're a UK seller and you're selling on eBay, and somebody in the US buys something, how does eBay like adjust for that, or they just not allow that these days? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, because
I mean, it would be almost for anything that's international that would be
True.
affected by this. So, like, I'm sure I saw like items on eBay when I was looking stuff up that were not in the US. When I looked up, oh wait, that's stuff that has sold already. Let's look up for sale. That was back in March.
I wonder if because I know you can still buy stuff off AliExpress, and that's like directly from China.
Actually, that stuff, you can still buy stuff off of Temu and AliExpress, but that stuff that actually isn't in China. It's actually coming from somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Temu actually took down anything that was coming from China. Yeah, that actually saves my wife money too, because when that started affecting her, I swear we get a package from Temu like every other day, if not every day, and there's just these bags thrown every day, and then all of a sudden she went to order something and the shipping was gonna be like $80, and that's when she was like, nope.
Wow. Okay, no, I didn't realize that they had warehouses in the U.S. because whenever I've ordered stuff, it was maybe like things like Steam Deck screws or whatever multi-card. It said it would take a couple weeks or more, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, that makes more sense. Why you can still find some stuff, and maybe why other stuff had like disappeared, or the price had changed, or whatever. $80 for shipping. Yeah, at least I want to say we don't have to pay like VAT or duty taxes, or like Pete was saying, like he ordered like 2 games $40 each, and then he had to pay like another $40 or something. I would be like, hell no.
Like, what would you do if all of a sudden you couldn't buy Evercade cartridges anymore?
That's a great. You know what? That's okay. I know exactly what I would do. I would go ahead and I would still cover everything, but I'd be like, well, but just cover it. I would still look at the games via emulation and be like, well, I can't buy the cart because of this. So
I'm like, I would toy with with just selling it all. Like, what's the point if I can't get anything else for it?
No, that's why I jokingly say, like, if somebody was like, hey, I'll offer you like X amount of money and buy you out, and if it was like an offer you couldn't refuse,
I wonder what you could get for not even just the hardware, but just a complete collection of all the cartridges up to this point.
Many? What do we? Let's see. If I look behind me, we're up to 45. Let's see, 55, 59. Are there really 6 right now? There's what, 67? 67 carts, like total, right?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even have the whole list on.
I was just looking behind me. So let's say if I do 60.
Oh, wait, here we go. So what was the last two release? Was it Tomb Raider 2 and Arcade 2? Atari Arcade 2? Was that the last 2?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, because I don't know why I said that, because I see the dates here for Gremlin 2 and Windjammers. So that would be 67 cartridges. But again, they're not all worth the same amount.
No. So here's what's interesting. So if you did 67 times 20, let's
Yeah.
just let's go by let's go a little maybe a little
If-
more.
Yeah, well, you still paid a little bit more, but yeah, let's just say they're all worth $20 each.
Yeah, 1,000. That's $1,340.
1,340.
And then
See, this is why it's taking me so long to list myself, because I have to look everything up individually and then adjust based on condition.
Now it would be interesting to price chart it out to see like what like the purple, what the other special editions. But like maybe without looking everything, maybe on average, maybe like 2K for a complete collection as it sits.
The one thing I found is with hardware, you can't really trust price charting at all, because they're going based off of the eBay listings that they see, but it doesn't really take in consideration the condition or if they're actually bundling in more items with that console, which is normally the case.
True. Yeah. What if we go to?
In fact, I've seen where they've got ones mislabeled, like where they say console only, yet it has the box with it still, because what I do is I start there, but then you have the links to the eBay listings, and I click on the links and go to those and see what was actually included and what the condition was to sell for that price.
Yeah, I know that's why it's not like an end all be all. But if we look at, let's see, did it actually work this time? Yes. If we look at price charting, could you just add? I wish you could. You just add. They found 97 items.
Well, here's the funny thing: is like, why are there loose prices for Evercade carts? What happened to your case?
You know what? Every time I see like a Sega Genesis or Mega Drive game, I think the same thing.
Well, that I could kind of understand a little bit more, because that was back when, if you're used to like Atari 2600 and NES games, the cartridges came in these cardboard boxes that people would just throw away, because that's what they were used to doing, just throwing away the boxes. The Genesis were these nicer clamshell cartridge cases, and a lot more frequently people would save those, but there were still people that just tossed them. I don't need a case. I don't know if I told this story on this podcast, but I had my PlayStation 4 games up for sale, right? And this guy was messaging me. He was interested in these PlayStation 4 games I had, but he was wondering if he could get a lower price if I sold him just the discs and not the case.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not selling you the disc without the case.
Right. So, you're asking Crow about like, what about like the consoles including the game? So like with the Founders Edition, if you have it complete with all the games and everything, it's like $450.
Yeah, but again, it's the kind of thing where I wouldn't just trust that. I'd click into that and see the listings and click on those listings just to see it. Like, is there stuff missing from those listings? Is there more stuff included in those listings?
There's just one bundle for, yeah. Wow.
Exactly. It's just one. So,
Of course, you click on it. It says, we've looked everywhere. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that might give you a good idea of a place to start. But again, what I do is like, if I have it listed for a while and it's just people aren't looking at it, then I've obviously priced it too high, and I'll just lower the price.
Yeah, but it's one. Of course, it's one of what people are willing to pay. But like, there's definitely like a very limited quantity of those VSs. So it's just, I think you could get that much for it even without the games. I think if you had everything else complete but the games, I think you could probably get maybe close to 500. Because I want to say that if a collector's looking for it, they probably have all those games. I could be wrong. But yeah, like the original. See if anything else stands out. But some of these are like less, like Full Void, the special edition, $60. Yeah. Actually, it's funny. Like a lot of these complete are like a little bit less than the $20. But Indie Heroes $430. Yeah, it's kind of wonky.
And what's funny is like that'd be the kind of thing I would think I would have to sell on eBay, because I've had people over to look at what I've got, and they see the Evercade stuff on the collection, like on the shelves with all the other stuff I have in the collection. They're like, "What is this?" They don't know. It's like, I saw this Evercade stuff once somewhere else, and I don't know what it is.
True. No news on the part 2 yet. I think it was supposed to be at the end of this month, but everything is kind of up in the air. Yeah. But no, I've wondered about that would kind of suck if we just could not get anymore.
I mean,
Anymore.
I think it would. And again, it's like, what if it's a year? What if it's 2 years? And before they're like, okay, now we'll ship it to the US now. It's like, then there's a whole big long backlog of games that you need to buy all at once if you want to keep your collection up.
Yeah. I think maybe in some of those cases I would say hey, I have maybe that's when I would email some local, if I was serious, I'd email some local retro stores and take some pictures and say, I have a complete collection with everything, everything in box, working, great condition. Would you be interested in this? Could you give me a ballpark figure and I'll come by? Which would be kind of sad, but I know what you mean. That it is kind of sad. You can't collect, get future things.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you'd wait is sit and see, because I mean, honestly, I don't know the tariffs are going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, so that's okay. So that's, which is kind of a good other topic. So that's kind of something I've talked about a lot. That I feel like with things like Blaze is behind the they're behind, they're kind of behind the times on stuff. What are they waiting for? But to your point, they're not going to go away. They're just not going to.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to change before these cartridges are supposed to come out at the end of June.
I think they're just trying to buy time logistically to get the carts made. I don't think the carts are made yet.
But I mean, even if that's the case, the release date is still June.
Yeah.
If they don't have enough carts, they would have to delay it anyway. Again.
True. Yeah.
So by not taking US pre-orders, that's not really an excuse for that.
That's true. And then it hurts them, right? I think what they should have done is they should still take the orders, or put a disclaimer saying, just note, or just bite the bullet and just say, well,
I guess they're just waiting. I guess they have this fear that maybe the tariffs might increase, and they don't want to lock in at a price and then find out it's going to cost more,
Yeah.
and because you're not going to be able to charge more, I don't think. Be like, hey, I know you paid this much, but we need a couple bucks more,
Living the dumbest timeline. Yeah, people are saying they need to open a warehouse in the US. No, definitely. And that's kind of what I keep saying, is that they need to, and that's why I keep saying they need to kind of cater more.
Well, that wouldn't, just having a warehouse in the US wouldn't solve anything, because they still need to ship them into the US unless they actually make them in the US.
Yeah, that's what Debs. Yeah, they had a factory.
Yeah, that would be the only solution, really.
That would be great. That's Blaze. I mean, Ballistic Coffee. Let's call him Blaze Coffee Boy.
Blaze Coffee Boy.
Yeah, that would be great. Put down $5 for a layaway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pre-order payment, and then you pay the rest on release. That would be a good idea, actually.
We know. We know at least you were half. Yeah, no, I think they should do something. They should just kind of, because how long are they gonna delay it? But yeah, I think clearly they recognize that they do get a pretty big revenue stream from the US and Canada.
Well, that I can't say whether they do or not. I don't really know what their percentage is. How many people in the UK versus how many people in the US purchase their carts? That'd be information only they know, and I don't think they've released that information at all.
True. I think I'm just going off my channel, but I think they said from the UK is USA is the number one viewers, UK is the second, and
but you can't. I don't know if you can really go off your channel demographics, because since you're in the US, it stands to reason that most of your subscribers would be in the US.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that, but and that's why I just kind of say this kind of goes back. I don't know. You could call them if they're outdated thinking that this isn't just going to go. They need to do something, and that's kind of why I tease on the blue carts, because I said like,
what did Nintendo do? Nintendo didn't increase the cost of the Switch, right? Did they? Did they not?
yeah,
I think the reason they didn't is because they were making so much of a profit on it anyway at that price that they could eat the cost of the 10% or whatever it is, because it's not made in China. It's like it's made in India or something.
no, you know what? What Nintendo did, so they took Mario, they took Donkey Kong, and they took Toad, and they sent them down with some Goombas to the factories, and they said, "You're gonna hear our prices," and they muscled them. But no, yeah, no, they just like raised the cost of like the accessories and
Yeah, that's what they did. They didn't raise the price of the console because I think it was, I mean, historically, Nintendo's probably the only video game company that was actually making a profit on their consoles. Like they weren't selling them at a loss. So, how much was their profit? I don't know. But since they're selling, what was the price of the Mario Kart bundle? The console by itself with no game was like $450, right? And then it was the one with the Mario Kart, which was $500.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It just seems like that is the hardware is just way overpriced for what it is.
Yes.
So I think they're making a pretty good profit on each console sold to begin with.
Yeah. Well, they won't admit it, but I think maybe they're taking a move from like Valve's playbook, where it's like, hey, people will buy. They're gonna buy the games if we can just get them the console at cost. We're gonna make enough money.
And I actually think that they're doing the thing that they've done in the past, where they're not actually making enough available. Like, who knows what the actual quantity is going to be available? So it seems like they're sold out everywhere, and everybody wants them because they're sold out everywhere. When in reality, there's just not that many available.
Yeah. Well, so what's interesting, and this is where I wish Pete could comment, because I know we were talking about the games where like he was saying that they were gonna have different sizes than the 64 gigs, and I was like, no, and then so far no one's been able to find evidence that they're gonna offer smaller cards. I think Nintendo is kind of doing that on purpose, right? Because they want and kind of to your point of they profited off of the consoles before. Now they're like, let's just get the console. They really want you to buy the digital software, and they're and they know you'll buy.
Yeah, what's funny is like everybody's all up in arms about the whole, there's no game on this card, it's just a key. But in my mind, that was kind of the reason why I got away from consoles to begin with, was because the game on the media you got was not the game you were playing, because the second you put it into the console, you update it and it installs the whole thing to the hard drive anyway. So what's the point of having the game on the CD or whatever?
Exactly. I'll be generous with this number. I probably want to say 80% of people who own a Switch, like they're not retro gamers. They don't care about the physical. They don't care about having the physical. They just want the games, right? Maybe
I think most people at this time don't care about the physical media.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I don't like about the carts where you download the games versus, let's say, like having the CDs, is at least with the CD you could install it and have like that version of a game. You know what I mean? Like if the PS3 store went down, you would still.
But still, like, okay, they've sold games on the PlayStation 4, Xbox game, where what was on the disc was not the full game, or a super buggy version of the game that may be unplayable. And that's why it would require you to be online to be able to download it, install it, to actually play that version of the real version of the game. What was it? It was like one of those Tony Hawk games where only the training levels were on the disc and the rest of the game was downloaded.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, when did I get like Pac-Man Championship Edition a long time ago? It had Galaga, Dig Dug, and that, like I knew like that's a small. I think it's on like a 6 gigabyte disc. Like I knew all the game, and and that game didn't require any updates when I installed it. So I'm like, I think I have the full game on that because it's so tiny.
And and the reason why they don't care to really put the whole thing on the disc is because they know they have to press the discs while they're still working on the code anyway.
Yeah.
So they just put whatever they have at the time on the discs, and I don't know how far in advance those discs are made, but who knows how many times they've updated the game in the time that they've pressed the discs. So it's kind of pointless, the good thing, really, about the physical media is you could sell it to somebody else if you wanted to. But if Nintendo is locking those physical games to specific consoles and you're not able to let somebody borrow the game or something, then you really just eliminated the one thing that the physical media was good for.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where I can kind of see a positive, because it's like if you have up a let's say you build up like a big Steam collection like we've had. Maybe there's games we'll never play again, and maybe you wish you could like trade some of those in for credit or lend them to a friend. And
well, that's the thing. Is like I wouldn't be able to do my project the way I'm doing it right now if I didn't have games to put up for sale and get a good chunk of change for them.
yeah,
It's like if I just had been buying all these games digitally, I'd have nothing, you know? It's like I'd sell this, I'd have the console, I'd sell the console, but I wouldn't be able to sell the games.
didn't say no one cared. Like, well, maybe like when we mean say no one cared, like the majority, like the and that's what I was saying. Like, okay,
well, yeah, that's a different story though. I mean, those are games that what I'm talking about are like new modern games, pretty much.
Yeah.
Limited run games, not necessarily modern games. They're all pretty much indie games or lesser known titles or old, you know what I mean.
No, limited. I mean,
sometimes and the games that they do put on physical that may have just come out digitally, they're not like the bigger games that a lot of people are looking, that are very hyped up. We're talking about like, oh, here's what was one of those games, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. That's almost like an indie title, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, then
people do like physical media, and that would have the whole game, especially if you got the Switch version. You would have the whole game on the cart. But with limited run games, though, too, I was like, I gotten a game in the past where I put it in the PlayStation 4 and it didn't work, and that's because they forgot to put the game code on the disc.
There's having to play games online. No, and like there's a great like Marathi or whatever. There's a great like YouTube documentary on that. And the thing is that like they did all that stuff like knowing they're like, oh well, gamers aren't going to open it or play the game anyways. Like what?
Yeah. What are the odds you're going to open the game and play it? Most people are just going to keep it sealed anyway.
Yeah. And then they made them like pay for shipping purposely to make it difficult. But so here's the thing that I think that's kind of funny about something like limited run games. It's like it's not like an official release. It's like an official third-party release. So like if you are a collector, I don't know. It's a weird. I think it's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of.
It's funny is every time I see one of those games that was graded and encased in one of those, cases or whatever because it's been graded and it's sealed. It's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, how do you know what's in that box is actually what's supposed to be in that box?
That's true. Yeah, and then you have to put your faith in the grading company.
How do you know they didn't screw up and accidentally not include something that was supposed to be in there, or it's a copy of the game that doesn't work because it is.
Yeah, no, I think about that.
It doesn't matter in the long run, but you don't know because you don't know what's inside it.
Yeah.
You know what's supposed to be inside it and what more than likely is inside it. But it's almost like I guess it'd be like a Schrodinger's game box. It could be the game or it could not be the game. You don't know until you look.
Yes, oh my God. Yes, that sums it up well. Wow. Oh, man. Local see only $89. Wow. Yeah, so that's kind of like what I predicted. I've been saying, like, let's say we can't buy carts. I said this like at Blaze word officially, but if we can't buy carts anywhere, there will be a small period of time where there will be some interest where I think maybe you could see Evercade prices like go a little bit crazy. And then if you had someone like Phoenix Reseller, even if you had a reseller who would want to buy it from you, okay, I'm making up like crazy numbers. Let's say for some reason, like a full collection is worth $5,000, just to make it easier. Let's say a scalper were to come to you and offer you like half of that. and they think you would still profit off of what you paid for. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know if it would be crazy,
but don't tell the IRS.
Right? Yeah, no, believe me, I thought about that with my channel. What direction would I think that I would shift more to just covering like indie games and hitting, more towards that. Or maybe instead of using the money that I'd spend on Evercade, maybe I would get more Game Boy Chromatic. Maybe I'd get a 2600 plus. Dude, that's insane. I want to say
for Atari Collection 2? Really?
Yeah. I kind of feel like if you went to buy those 2600 games like used, it wouldn't cost that much if you were to get the physical copies.
No, that's not right.
That's nuts. Yeah,
it's not right. Wait and see. Complete inbox. No, we're talking about $35 at most for Atari Collection 2.
I was like, where are you seeing this from, Crypto? Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing of physical meat, it is interesting, and then you kind of have to wonder, like with the Switch, you're saying if you were locking it to a device, if you could only download it or limit it the number of times, and then what if someday the server's still? And then another thing too that's weird with the Switch, does your online store information get saved online, or do you still have to transfer it from one Switch to another?
I think I don't know. That was the initial problem with the Switch, I think, is that you could only have one account on a console.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they had changed that, so you could have, because I was like, well, what if I have multiple Switch? They didn't take into account people would have multiple Switches,
Yeah.
But I guess you could do that now. I don't know. I wouldn't know what the process of that is.
Because I remember the Wii, like you couldn't, like you wasn't you could like maybe transfer everything, but like when the store, it was like locked to that Wii. Because I know there was like, what did I see? Like a Mad Little Pixel did a video a while back where like you could upload, like in preparation for the Switch 2, you could like migrate your account. It would like take everything off of your Switch 1, upload it to the cloud.
Imagine though, if somebody like didn't know, like, because logically think, oh, I have the game, I could sell it to somebody and then they could play the game. But imagine if they all of a sudden changed the rules where you buy a cartridge, but you can't play it because it's still linked to somebody else's system.
Yeah. And so
I ran into a similar problem. I can't even remember what it was, but it's like, oh, before you can use this on this console or something, you have to deactivate it on the other console. Otherwise, you can't. I can't remember specifically what it was, but I ran across something like that.
It almost reminds me of like the security, like on a MacBook. Like if you have like your account locked to that iCloud, you can't do anything unless.
I think it was a piece of software. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, you got to remember to deactivate it. Otherwise, that's what it was when I built the new computer. I put a piece of software on it, and I was like, I tried to register it. It's like, no, you still registered on this other system. Well, I don't have that other system anymore.
Oh wow. Well, hopefully, I think if you still had access to your account, you could go in and you could remove that other system.
I did manage to, I think I had to email them or something, and then I was able to get it deactivated so I could activate it again. But just making things more complicated. Nintendo for sure is going to do something like that, because I remember when I was selling some of these systems, like the PlayStation 4, I was like, I want to remove my account, and it's like, okay, I need to go online so I can remove your account from the system. It's like, why do you need to go online? Just format the hard drive. And it's like, no, I can't format the hard drive until you remove your account. Why?
Whoa, dude. Well, you know what it'll mean? I mean, luckily the Switch is portable, but it'll mean that either you have to like really trust that seller, or before you buy a game, it's like, can I put it in my Switch and make sure it'll download it, and you know what I mean? That's what I would do, unless like I really trust it. That'll mean like I wouldn't buy like anything off the secondary market, like from a pawn shop or someplace where they're not gonna understand that. Or I can guarantee you there. And even GameStop, are they gonna test everything?
Well, we already know GameStop doesn't test anything. They don't even check to see if what they have is counterfeit.
Oh, Nintendo erased your entire Wii U collection, said it was sorry. Oh, that sucks.
Well, that's the other thing that that Nintendo was saying recently. I can't remember how recently, but somebody's saying that with the Switch 2, if they suspect that you've modded the hardware or something like that, they could just erase your entire account, deactivate your system so it could never be used again.
Wow. Without warning? Like, are they not?
Yeah, they could just do it whenever they want. If we think you modded your system, we're gonna kill the system and make sure nobody could ever play it again.
See, and like I understand why they want to do that for piracy, but what if there's like some update or something that's buggy that makes them think you've modified your system when you haven't, and then your account gets.
I wonder if they do the kill. I wonder if they have a way to undo it. They should have a way to undo it, unless they think they're just infallible in everything they do.
Yeah, and then or will they? They may have, or will they do it, or will you have to like put up a big fuss?
Well, I mean, even if they do realize that they've made a mistake, they should be able to undo it. Because what's the other alternative? They have to send you another switch. Oh, we're sorry. Here's another switch.
Yeah, or I hope they would give people like at least a warning, something where you wouldn't just turn on your.
No, I don't think they're not into giving warnings when they start banning systems or accounts or anything. So I couldn't imagine they'd do a warning. They wouldn't do a warning. They would just be like, "Oh, we think you switch, kill it. We don't need to talk to you."
Because
if you give you a warning, like what's the person gonna do? They're gonna be like, "Oh no, I really didn't do it."
See, that's horrible because like Nintendo caters to families. Like it's different. Like I don't know. Let's say like your 8-year-old one day like wakes up and they want to play Mario Kart, and then you know what I mean? Like they're used to it, and something, and then all of a sudden they can't play it, or like that would be horrible. Like Rich's kids, right?
It's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen because nobody's perfect, and even the companies that think they're infallible, they're gonna make a mistake.
Have Nintendo communicated they will look a physical game to the console? I don't think they've officially said.
That's what I heard. I heard of that. Okay, it might not be true, but it's definitely something I can see them doing.
Yeah, I think you'll have to. Like unassign that. Like when you install it, it'll say like you're signing the certificate to this console, and then when you don't want, then I think you'll have to like unassign it.
Because I think that even with the physical media, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I think that once you install the game onto that system, that you don't actually need to put the card in the system again to play it.
Yeah. What I would hope that they would do something like if somebody is on your friends list, that at least, or it would send, or maybe not, it would send them a notification or something saying like, do you want to release that, release that game.
Yeah, but no, that's the thing though. Like, what if you decide, oh, I don't want the Switch 2 anymore. I'm going to sell it on eBay. You don't know the person that you're selling it to.
No. No. Yeah, I think this is everyone's way to kind of, and Nintendo force everyone to go digital.
That's because they don't want people reselling their stuff, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't see any money from that.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's kind of the sad. Although the funny thing is, I feel like though, like with the console market, I just feel like they've been playing catch up to PC because PC, it's been like that for like 20 plus years. Everything digital. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the difference is that everything on PC is so much cheaper than on a console to begin with.
Yes. Yes. Damn rough little person who never sold a console. Maybe you've never sold any of your consoles.
I mean, yeah, you've never sold a console, then you've never sold a console. I could easily see somebody never doing that. But then again, somebody that may have like 9 Nintendo 64 sitting in the corner,
That's what happens, right? Yeah. This is hubris and greed, the Nintendo cycle, and the console fails, and we're forced to innovate and become. Yeah. That's why Switch 2 Steam Deck. Get it?
Well, with me, it was kind of different because I didn't do that specifically to get away from the Switch. But I felt that once I got the Steam Deck, a couple of months later, I was like, well, I don't think I need the Switch anymore.
Yeah. Well, listen, like with me, like I am like whether you like technology, someone likes technology or not, it's like just embrace it. And I kind of feel like with consoles and other stuff, like yes, you can. It's a more expensive way to game, especially with like with Nintendo, like PC. And even if you don't use a Steam Deck, PC is the way. And you don't even have to be that knowledgeable of a PC. Like there's tons of options now. If you want your Mario's and whatnot, if you want those specific games, then yes, then I guess you have to. play it on the Switch unless like at some point that gets like emulated or or something else. Those exclusives, but otherwise everything else pretty much goes to PC, and it goes to PC for a lot cheaper. And we can thank Steam for
Well, yeah, even though when the game is released, a lot of times it's the same price, like $70-$80. They'll often be on sale, and you can get it much cheaper at some time down the future, like maybe even really like soon after release. But the one thing I was thinking about too is how like Nintendo raised the price of their games to like $80 or $90, and they're like, oh, this is going to set a precedent where everybody else is going to set their games at that price. But here's the thing: is like Nintendo, they don't do like the deluxe editions or anything that cost more because you're getting more content. So the thing that is that games already cost like $80 to $100. That's because that's the deluxe edition for these other games that actually include everything. Like when you buy the standard edition, you're buying a cheaper version that doesn't include everything.
Right.
So Nintendo doesn't do that. They don't really add in. They don't have deluxe. There's not going to be a Mario Kart World Deluxe Edition. There's just one version of the game. But these other companies that start their pricing at $60 or $70 and then have a deluxe edition at like $100, they're not going to see that. They're just going to see like, oh, Nintendo raised the prices, and so their base game is now going to be $80 or $90, and the deluxe edition is going to be like $130, $150.
That would be insane. Yeah. Yeah, that would just be stupid.
Okay, that's Ballistic Coffee that's kind of games cost equivalent of $80 back in the 80s too. Here's the difference though. Yeah, if you adjust for inflation, the price of games is, has remained about the same, I guess. It's $80. But the thing, again, you have to do then is you have to adjust the inflation of what the average person made back then, too.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it's like it was easier to afford something back then because people actually made more back then than they do now when you adjust for inflation.
Yeah, that's why I hate those. That's why I hate those arguments. I'm like, it was a different time. Different. Yes, exactly. Different money and like I hate I hate that. Yeah, because you would have to when you adjust that for salaries, then you realize no, it's like salaries go down, stuff goes up. Like I think people sometimes forget.
Yeah, I think even if you look at the minimum wage adjusted for inflation, it's gone down because it doesn't keep up to pace with inflation.
Yeah. Ooh, right now, right after the show, he's unsealing the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Like a lot of Power Stone. Cool. Yeah, I saw that released on Steam like yesterday or something.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I kind of want to buy it, but again, I'm going to wait for it to go on sale because I know I'm not going to play it right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's not even just waiting for it to be on sale. I'm just waiting for it to be, this percentage off, I'm not going to buy it till 75% off,
No, to be honest, my argument for something like that, like I don't care about like all the extra digital goodies. I mean, maybe the online play, but I'm like, if I really want to play those games, I could just like emulate like the Dreamcast versions or the arcade versions.
But there's something for supporting, actually buying it, so you're letting Capcom know how interested you are in that kind of stuff, so that they're like, hey, we made pretty good sales on this. Let's do something similar,
Yeah. No, and I do, believe me, and I respect people who want to collect that type of stuff. But yeah, like for me though, like 60, like that just seems like a lot. Now, like indie games and stuff, yes, and generally they're cheaper, and that's why for some people it's worth it for like $60. For me, it's not. Maybe a physical copy.
There are specific games that I'll pay full price for. In fact, I pre-ordered Wreckfest 2 like a month or so ago for a couple of reasons. If you pre-order it, it winds up being cheaper than when you buy the game new when it's going to come out. I mean, there's hardly any content in it right now, but I know I'm going to play that game a lot because I love the first game. So I'm going to buy it as soon as I can and then wind up paying a cheaper price for it as well as a result of that.
Definitely. So Mike, yes, doing 4 players Power Stone online, that would be awesome. Like that would be awesome. Although I know, like, I guess that is kind of the one little advantage of like there are more people that play online games on consoles for some stuff. I don't
But
know.
that's another thing, though, too, that you have to take into consideration. To play on consoles online, usually you have to be subscribed to some sort of thing, and you don't have to do that on PC.
True. I guess it works both ways. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. Like that's cool, and that might, and I could see how that would be like worth it alone to be able to play like Power Stone and Power Stone 2, like online. I would just hope when they charge 60, it would be more than just like a ROM dump and a pretty interface. Like they would add more, like modes. You know what I mean? Like that's what like yes, but like there was a time where I think like having like maybe early 2000s, like having like all the manuals and stuff would be kind of neat. Now the special moves being built in and stuff, like hey Pete. Like that could be cool. No, you're good. Totally get it. I believe it might be the arcade version, but also might be slightly different from the console. Yeah. He's out hunting Pokemon. Yeah. No, there's definitely a market and stuff for that. It's just like for me, I need to really like the games and wait for it to be cheaper. No, any news? Not really. And well, the news, the news is that you can't, U.S. and Canada right now can't buy Evercade games. That's the, you know what I mean? Like that's the sad news.
Sorry, I was just messaging because somebody wants to buy Conqueror's Bad for a day.
Cool. I'm surprised somebody hasn't said, but there's still over 500 games to play Evercade. But that's not the point. If you can't collect for it, then that really sucks. That's also just collecting.
Yeah, it's like if we can't buy the collections, but you're going to go ahead and just emulate them and play them anyway, why do you need the collection?
Exactly. That age-old argument. Yeah, and that's what's neat about the ecosystem, getting the stuff in the mail and physically having them and whatnot. But yeah, I hope Blaze gets into the 21st century, and that's why I say that's my main. When I've looked at all the issues with Blaze, it goes back to them being being behind the times, not up to date. I think I could trace every issue back to that.
I have to question is this. I have to assume that Funstock is shipping to Canada, right?
I don't know.
It's
no
North America. It's only U.S. right?
No, it said U.S. and Canadian customers on that thing.
Really? How is Canada being affected by that?
Oh, because it ships. I think because it ships from. I think the warehouse ships from the U.S. to Canada, and that's the whole reason.
Huh.
Yeah. I think that's the whole reason why, like, Video Games Plus and all that. Yeah, they're having.
Interesting. Okay.
Issues. Not as much like buying them from Canada, United States. It's because that's where it ships from.
But that doesn't make sense if the final destination isn't the U.S., but it's just passing through the U.S. Why would the tariffs affect it?
Yeah, Pete said yes, they are. Yeah, the new stuff for pre-order in Amazon Canada. Yeah, but you can't for Evercade stuff. You really can't trust Amazon.
Yeah, they were really good at the beginning, and then all of a sudden I just started not getting my stuff anymore.
Yeah, and that's when I remember that I used to get, and Pete's like, just order it from like Video Games Plus, and then they were awesome, and then now they're not. But yeah, I think though that Blaze they've gotten a new supplier or whatever. They need to get the ball rolling and get that going. Otherwise, I think the backlash that could turn people off will be, oh well, now all the stuff is only available like at scalping prices, like $100, $200 a cart. Like, is Blaze doing anything? So I don't know. It's a weird. It's a weird. The pre-ordered. When did you you pre-ordered it a while back because on their website everything is sold out.
Yeah, I ordered it well, here's the thing: is like the pre-orders. You were available to pre-order that one day. I can't remember what day the pre-orders came out. But you couldn't pre-order it that day on Video Games Plus. So I actually checked every day. I can't remember. It was like a couple days later it became available. And then that's when I pre-ordered it. And and then it must have been like the next day or a couple days after that is when they took it all down. Because I can't remember. I think I might have ordered it on Thursday. And then I remember when we had the Evercast on that Saturday, it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, no, I thought that was odd too because I remember like on that first day, I think maybe that first day is when they removed Evercade, like the first or second day from like they're up at the top, and then we had the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, and then and then it wasn't there, and it wasn't there, and then it was, and then I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, and then it was removed. I'm like, okay, I'll get it. I'm gonna order it from Songbird while I have the chance.
And you were able to order it from Songbird?
Yes.
And now they're not selling it.
Yeah. Like there was a 2 week, I want to say at least a week to 2 week period where you could order it, and it said it was on hold, and that's where I emailed them and like, why is this on hold status? And they said they didn't really.
Yeah, and with Video Games Plus, they took it down like they put it up and they took it down in a day or two.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully by the end of this month it'll get sorted, or Blaze needs to make a decision.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I personally, I don't think that the tariffs are going to change at all in a month. I mean, if it was for China, who knows what's happening with China? That could change every day. But for everybody else, I don't think it's going to change in a month.
Yeah, exactly. What did they tell you, Lloyd? Are you gonna get them? I'm curious to. Yeah, Crow, you emailed. Oh, hold on. We are no longer direct partners with Evercade. Our purchaser informed us that we turned them off temporarily. Okay.
Well, okay. If they already know they're not going to get them, why are they still keeping my pre-order? They should already be like, we're not going to be getting this. Here's your money back.
I think maybe because they maybe realize maybe there's like a lot of pre-orders, and they're like, well,
I don't think there could be that many pre-orders. I honestly don't think they've got like tons of pre-orders in the day or two that they had it up. I really can't see that.
Either that, or they reopened them up. Either they got a lot, they don't want a chance losing out the money, or they're not ready just to cancel yet. Well, the thing too with Fun Stock with VGAs, generally when they give you a refund, it's for credit. But I think if they're no longer a partner, and the only reason
that's the thing is like that'd be you canceling your order, they give you credit.
Yes.
But if they have to cancel your order, I don't see how they can only offer me credit.
No, especially if they're no longer, and you're like, dude, the only reason I bought stuff from you is because you've Evercade. There's nothing else that I want. Yeah, that's what they say. No longer direct partners. Yeah, so that's interesting. Hopefully they'll get the logistics sorted out like they said that they would. But no, see, and that's why I honestly think that like it's they don't have that sorted in the cart, and the carts aren't made because. If the carts were available, they could move. If the carts were available, they would ship them out ahead of time today and say, "We're selling them for this price. Those of you who pre-ordered, we're sending them out now." But there's something in logistics or with the factory. Who the hell, after 5 years, they haven't gotten it figured out, and that's why I say behind the times. Like Blaze has not gotten caught up to what they need to do, and to get their product. And they should have better communication. So we'll see. Otherwise, I think that if people outside of the UK can't buy the carts, I think that slowly then Evercade will kind of be forgotten about. You know what I mean?
Well, but for everybody outside of the UK.
Yeah.
It'd be just like the old days where they had the Spectrum and all those other computers that nobody else knew about.
Right. Or that nobody else cared to want. I don't know. That's
well, they didn't know about it. I mean, technically we did have that Spectrum here. It was called the Timex something or other, but it was so low selling and unknown at the time that because by the time it came out, we already had the Commodore 64 and stuff. So it looked so outdated at that time. So
yeah, I think that. I mean, I think without the other markets, I don't see Blaze surviving for too long outside of.
No, they can survive. I mean, honestly, if they could only sell in the UK, which isn't true, they could still sell. Even if they just cut off the US and sold to everybody else, they would just have to lower the quantity they make.
Yeah, but I think it would be a huge hit to their profit. Not only that, to their profit margin.
Yeah, there's that, but they'd have to
I don't
adjust. But
like
I don't
yeah,
see. I don't see why they. I mean, I don't see them cutting off the U.S. completely.
no.
If this 10% thing sticks around, they'll just add 10% to the price of the U.S.
Yeah. Then what are they waiting for? Just do that.
I think they're just waiting to see if something changes.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think anything will change, and they'll wind up opening the pre-orders back up. Except now it's going to cost more for the U.S.
Yeah, and that's why I think I don't know if Immortal Sojourner. So that's why maybe some of this they are using as an excuse, like the carts aren't already. That's why I'm like, why like what I could see happening is people that place their orders with Video Games Plus and Songbird, they're like, we're not going to go back to our customers and ask them for like another $4 or for another $4 or $5. We'll eat the cost on the people who pre-ordered. People who place new orders, yes, they'll be charged the 10% going forward. And be done.
I don't think it has anything to do with the carts being ready or not. The carts don't need to be ready till they're ready to ship them, which is a month from now. And that wouldn't stop them from taking pre-orders in the U.S. Because they've done that before. They just push it back. Like they've pushed back the dates for these already. And that may be because they didn't have they knew they weren't going to have the carts in time, so they pushed them back. And they used tariffs as an excuse,
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean about Blaze being behind the times and being inflexible to just have the carts shipped now. Either that, or they don't have them to ship, and they're trying.
Why would they have them now? They wouldn't have them now. That's why they pushed them back to a month.
Yeah.
They're not going to have, but they think they're going to have them by the end of. Maybe there was some manufacturing problem that delayed things a couple of weeks or something. They just decided to push it back a month. But I don't think the tariffs have anything to do with that, except that they're using that as the excuse that they had to push it back a month.
That's what I'm saying. If the carts were other than just if the carts were ready now, why wouldn't they just send them out now at the price that they're at now? Nobody loses any money. You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
I mean, there's a thing for having thing to be said about like having a release date for something and then just deciding to release it earlier. People don't want to do that. I mean, Sega made that mistake with the Saturn, where they said it was going to release on this day, and then all of a sudden they released it 3 months earlier just because they had it, and but everybody was not prepared for it. So even if they have their entire stock already sitting there in a warehouse ready to go, but since they said okay, end of June, I think you're still going to wait till the end of June to ship them.
Yeah, but that's more an expensive console. Even that, like, this is just like I just don't know why it just wouldn't make sense to say, hey, we're gonna go ahead. You all put in the pre-orders. We're gonna do it early. We want you all to get the price locked in. It would just I think they're just doing it because they're being inflexible or they don't have the carts. Because the release date was supposed to be at the end of this month, anyways. Maybe that's what I don't know. It just yeah. I just kind of like what are they waiting for unless they have an excuse to what so.
No, I think the excuse is that it's not ready. It won't be ready. It wasn't going to be ready in time for the original release date. And they're like, well, we got to delay. Because I think if they actually were ready, but they were not shipping to the U.S., I don't think anything would have stopped them from shipping everywhere except the U.S., to be honest. Because they've done that. They ship things that, we're releasing it on this day. And then they have shipped the cartridges in the U.K. like a week or two early.
Exactly.
They've done it before. So I don't think it has anything to do with them having carts and just waiting. I don't think they have the carts because otherwise I think they would ship them early.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I don't think they have the carts, and they're just not, and that's why they're waiting because they need
literally that's what that's indirectly says. I think when they say we need to push back the release date of this whatever a month, logically in my mind I'm thinking, that's because they won't have the stock ready to ship out in time. That's why they always delay things.
So Robo Blue, yeah, I get the impression they had to make the decision to delay weeks ago. Now they can't rush them into the country to meet the old date. Yeah, it could be that. Definitely could be that. But
yeah. Honestly, I think they're just going to have to raise the price for the U.S. like pre-orders or. And then here's the thing now, since everybody else is not cut off the Evercade, the Songbird and Video Games Plus is Funstock really going to be the only place that we're going to be able to get these cartridges now?
Yeah. No, I think honestly. So okay, I think like let's say if they no longer we're going to sell to the U.S. or anything or have anything thing. I think what I would do is I think I would take all that stuff behind me and I would box it up at that point. And I think I would be like the RGB of like Evercade. And I'll make videos on videos and draw out the drama and all that. I think I don't know. A part of me would kind of want to do that just like out of spite, and maybe that would kind of be.
Well, they're not going to care if you box it up and like hide it.
No, but I think there would be but it would get like a lot of attention, and then my channel would become what I didn't want it to become, which is about drama and not playing the games. That's kind of the. That's kind of the.
I could say something about not playing the games.
True. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it'll resolve itself by the end of June.
Yeah, we can only sit and wait. So end of June. Well, I think they'll have to announce something end of this month or beginning of June as to what they're going to be doing at the end of June, whether or not they're going to be shipping to the U.S. but increasing the price, or just not shipping to the U.S. at all. Shipping everywhere except the U.S. Whatever they decide to do.
Yeah. Well, and then I think the other kind of elephant in the room too with raising the prices, because Blaze has always had like quality control issues, or we've talked about like how the partitions are rewritable and they can be corrupt. So it's like I think because it's not the same thing as like buying like a reproduction like an Atari 2600 or 7800 cart. You buy Food Fight, it's on an actual PCB. You know what I mean? So they kind of have that, like if you pay more money for this and then your carts are like not working, you have to send them back. Like I don't know. That would suck.
Yeah, I think there's only been. Well, I don't remember if I ran across. Can't remember if I had this. I think there was one cart I had to send back because it didn't work, and that was like in the first year that I was buying Evercade stuff. So I doesn't happen that frequently, especially not anymore. It's not a concern I have that I get a cart and it doesn't work. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. My Cockard says if he doesn't get his red Super Pocket, he's gonna go Angry Volcano. Yeah, no. I hope you get that, man. I know you were looking for, and that is an awesome like showpiece. And so,
but isn't it kind of funny how it's like, oh, we've been saying for years, oh, wouldn't it be nice if Neo Geo stuff could be on the Evercade? Now that it is, we're not going to get the carts.
Yeah, and that's why I like timing. Timing is everything, and that's why when I jokingly sometimes say like, "Hey, we're getting these blue carts or Gremlin," it's like. Yeah, they released that stuff. Wouldn't it have been nice to at least get the Neo Geo and other stuff? I don't know. I assume Super Pockets. So, but on my business trip next year, that's what I will be taking my Taito Super Pocket on the plane, because then I won't have to. It'll have enough games built in. I won't have to worry about it. I really don't want to have to worry about taking my Steam Deck or my Chromatic or those other devices that if something bad were to happen really aren't replaceable that easily. Worst case, I'm out $60 if something. You know what I mean? So yes. Super Pockets are, but then again, like if I didn't have I probably would have bought like a you can get like a Mayo Mini Plus or something for the same price. I don't know.
This always happens. The people that say they want to buy stuff from me always wind up wanting to buy more than what they initially said.
Dude, that's awesome.
I got a guy coming by later today, and it's his third time coming here. And every time I wind up talking to him for like an hour.
Hey, as long as they're buying stuff, that's awesome.
Like literally, like you wouldn't believe the number of people that come here, and I've literally emptied their wallets.
Wow.
I had the one guy, I'd never seen this before, came there, and I told him what I had, and I told him how much I want for it. He took all his money out of his wallet and threw it on the ground to count it.
Wow. That's incredible. That's wow. Yeah, well, you've got good stuff. All right. So
he offered to do work around the house. Here's the funny thing. I have concrete in the back and the steps that need to be redone. And that's exactly what he does. And I said, well, come take a look at this. And he's like, oh, I'll do it for this much, or you could pay me in Nintendo 64s.
That's funny. That's funny. Hey, to barter like that, hey, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's some bartering. It's like, yeah, how much did it cost you? Maybe about 3 Nintendo 64s.
Me, I'd be skeptical. I'm like, dude, do you really do that for a trade, or are you just saying, yeah, I can?
No, he had a business card. He has a website.
Okay.
He's the owner. So it's not like I don't believe him. I do believe him.
That's awesome. Well, we're winding. Yeah, we're winding down. So yeah, what do you got going on your channel next week?
Well, Zachary Pinball did release 2 more cables every 2 weeks. It's at least 2 more cables. I think it's going to go for a couple of weeks more at least. But so I'm gonna make some videos for that tomorrow, and I'm gonna film it tomorrow. When I can actually get them up remains to be seen. But I gotta keep getting stuff listed so I can get it all listed and not have to worry about that anymore. Because I've been taking way too long to do this. But that's why I haven't really touched the Evercade in weeks, to be honest. I'm still in the middle of Tomb Raider, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I gotta finish that on stream. So yeah, I'll be streaming tonight, so just keep a lookout for that. I don't know next week. I don't know. I don't know what my next 2 videos are gonna be while I'm on my business trip and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to.
If I had all the time in the world, there's so many videos I would make. So many, and I was like, I just don't have the time to do it.
Exactly. No, I know Mike really wants no, dude, that would be awesome. I would if they could do like gun support, that would be, do it well. That'd be really cool.
Well, you know what the problem would be is the guns would cost at least $100.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be doable now that they support mouse, because that's how those light guns that work on the TVs, that's how they kind of work. They work by acting like a mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, they would either need to say, hey, so did light guns will work, which are like crazy, more like twice as much as the console, or a cheaper light guns.
I would pay a fortune if they would have a point blank collection, and get Namco to do a point blank collection and have a light gun with it.
That would be nice.
You point blank, you got Time Crisis. Others? I don't remember what other games Namco put out with those light guns. And even more, if they could give us a light gun that had the recoil effect like in the arcade.
Yeah, that would be spendy. I think what they would do is they would maybe have a cheaper light gun, but make it compatible so you could buy that more expensive Sinden light gun that does all that.
I don't know how much cheaper you can make it. I mean, I'm sure the Sinden ones, and there's even another brand, I can't remember the name of it. They all cost at least $100. I'm sure they're making it as cheap as they can.
Yeah. Yeah. So, alrighty. Well, I think we'll go ahead and end it here. Thanks everybody for attending and all that, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Thanks, Crashline, Immortal Sojourn, Amber Cummings, Joe Whitlush, Alex Groot.